So after desire, intention, allowance, and surrender, the next stage is learning the importance of humility.
Yeah.
I mean, real, genuine humility. And genuine humility doesn't mean standing in front of a group of people and they give you a standing ovation and then you say, oh gosh, you shouldn't have done that. I don't really deserve that. So that you can look like you're humble when on the inside you were going, oh God, that really feels good. Clap louder. A little bit longer. You know, it's like we'll pretend like it wouldn't thrill us to walk into this room, and as soon as you walk in the room, everybody were to break out in a thunderous applause because they were so glad to see you. And then we were told that if you were looking at that correctly, you would try to stop us. You would say, oh, no, don't do that. I don't really deserve that. That's not humility. That's not humility. Humility comes from a deep-seated recognition that you can't save yourself because you didn't create yourself, because you have a creator. Being truly humble is recognizing you and we can't save ourselves. We were actually created, and we actually have a creator. And it also means that we are the effect of that creator and not the cause, and that something called life is not yours, that there's something that's beyond our capacity of containment. No matter how hard we try, we're not going to be able to grasp God. That there's something beyond our intellectual understanding, that there's just some things we will never understand from the level of us thinking it and understanding it. And true humility is recognizing that if whatever created us decided not to enliven us, we would cease to exist. Something is keeping us going right now. So true humility would be recognizing that I'm ultimately not going to be the one that's going to be able to make me happy, that I actually had something that created me, and that I am that creation, and that life is not really mine, that there's really something beyond my capacity to understand. How far would you travel on a jet if you really had to understand the laws of aerodynamics and how they got off the ground? Why do we think we're supposed to understand God then? Why is it that we tell ourselves when we come to these classes that I'm supposed to understand all of this or else I can't use it? If I'm not mistaken, when I was on the plane with the pilot that was flying me to St. Louis a few weeks ago, he knew all about the laws of aerodynamics and how the plane worked, but I'd be darned if I didn't arrive there with him. So even though he knew more than I knew, I still ended up in the same place that he did. So you don't have to know everything to get to where you want to go.
Yay.
Yay!
Since I don't know a damn thing, that's good news. There's hope for me yet. You can always tell when you're hearing the truth because you will feel better about how you are and what's going on. No matter how deep you go into the depth of God, no matter how deep you achieve an awareness and consciousness of union with God, I don't care how aware you really become of God, the truth. He says, I don't care how conscious you get that you're one with God, it's still going to always remain forever beyond our capacity to understand God, our Creator. And if that's what everybody's trying to do, trying to explain God, say we know God. This book is telling us that it's like an ocean of infinite depth. That when you realize that I don't care how much you strive, you will never wrap yourself, you'll never wrap this little self around that source. And when you realize that, and I realize, and when we realize that we'll never understand God, it will always be beyond our intellectual understanding. We'll never be able to wrap our Creator up in our little limited ideas and concepts. And you are literally all of all that is. Then you have genuine humility. That's not, it's not trying to get someone not to applaud me. It's me realizing I'll never understand everything. So why is it important to realize you'll never understand God? You'll never understand everything at this level. He says, mark these words well. As you progress along the path of the way of the heart. Notice that we are not studying the way of the intellect. We're not studying the way of analyzation. We're not studying the way of debate. We're studying the way of the heart. And he says, as you dissolve, what does that mean? As you loosen the shackles upon your mind, as the interior conflicts are healed. That's what we are trying to do, right? We are trying to dissolve any limitations on our mind. We are trying to get rid of interior conflicts. We don't just have regular conflicts. We have interior conflicts. And he says, as you finally start to have the conflicts healed and settled, as you begin to accept the abundance that the universe or our Creator, he says, would bestow upon you in all levels of your life, in all levels of your feeling, in all levels of your perception. I say in all levels of your life, you start to have everything healed in all areas of your life. When you have everything healed at all levels of your feeling and all levels of what you see, as you begin to taste the grandeur and the greatness that wants to flow through you, you will discover that your so-called enemies will become more subtle. Now, if you're at a very immature, basic, and naive level, and if you are, when he describes this, don't say nothing, look like you're intelligent. Because we know nobody knows how unintelligent we are. It's well hidden. It's well hidden. At some stage, to a child, the child's enemies becomes its enemies. The parents are seen as the enemies, does it not? Have you ever been upset with your parents or whoever your guardians were when you were growing up? Then he says, for example, the child says, what do I mean? What do you mean I can't have a car tonight? What's wrong with you? What do you mean I must be home by 10 o'clock p.m.? And the parent becomes the enemy. If just what my parents were just different, then I'd be happy, right? Then it says, as you move more and more into mastery, as you begin to go more and more and more into mastery, as you begin to move more and more and more into mastery, you will be sorely tempted to believe that, oh, I got it now. I'm done. Just stick a fork in it. I'm done. He says you will be sorely tempted to believe I can do this. The prayers I used to do when I began, the simple exercises of awareness I used when I started my path, I don't need that anymore. I don't need to do the stuff I did at the beginning because I mastered that. My life is still driving me insane, but I've mastered that. Right? Anytime you hear a voice, anytime you hear a voice, anytime you hear a voice, anytime you hear a voice saying to you, I'm done, you can be rest assured you're not. So every time you say you got it, that's the same as saying I don't have it. Every time you say I'm done, that's the same as you saying I'm not done. So every time you say that to anybody, one of the most common things you experience when you're in a counseling position so that you can learn is that people will constantly say to you, I know that. I know that. I know that. I know I'm creating it for myself. I know I'm the one that's making it. I know. if you knew, you simply would have the interior conflict healed. You don't know something just because you can speak English.
Yeah. Woo, ouch.
Ouch! Ouch!
Darn it.
I know that is you speaking English that you heard. How do I know that? Because I have interior conflicts. I'm still not experiencing total peace and joy. So at this point, I can repeat and parrot what I've heard, which is an important step, because you have to hear it first. Okay? Then it says, and when you say you know, he says, you're also in danger of losing the ground you've gained. So if you've been doing great, now you're getting to the I know now. Now you're in danger of losing the ground you gained. So humility is the recognition that the more you move into mastery, the more there is the desire for discipline and vigilance. So how can I tell when I'm becoming a master? I desire to be more disciplined. So what am I doing now? I'm getting up in the morning and I'm making sure before I do anything that I spend at least 2 hours studying the Course in Miracles in the Way of Mastery. I desire the discipline because I need to be vigilant against my ego that would tell me I know this now. Amen. I like that.
We know.
Matter of fact, just look at somebody and go, Now, let me explain the Way of Mastery definition of discipline. How do we know we don't have the correct perception of discipline? We don't want to do it. That's how you can always tell when you got the wrong perception of something. When you have the wrong perception of something, you won't want to do it. How do I know I have the wrong perception of God? I don't get turned on by the idea of God the way I should. How do I know I have the wrong perception of love? I'm afraid of it. See, how do I know I have the wrong perception of myself? I feel guilty. Guilt always means you're not obeying the laws of truth. Because the laws of truth say you're not guilty. So there's no way you can be guilty and obeying God. But if you think you are guilty, then you're not obeying God. That's different. Now, does that mean that we don't make mistakes? We make errors. But that doesn't mean you're guilty. So, discipline is not doing something hard that you don't like to do. Discipline is not doing something that you don't like to do. So when I get up in the morning to study A Course in Miracles in the Way of Mastery, I like it. I don't go, God damn, I gotta take out that Course in Miracles book today and put that stuff online, or I can't take it. That is not the way I start my day. I go, if I'll take the time to read some sanity and some love, it will help me deal with the projections of my mind today that might not be reflecting sanity and love. Yeah. So for me, it's like getting a fill up for the car in the morning. So I can drive through the day until at night. So he's saying discipline is like the skill of an artist that cultivates and refines the skill simply out of the deep desire and delight to create more beautifully. Why do I study that? I want to teach more beautifully. I want to do this more beautifully. An athlete disciplines a muscle so that the muscle works even more beautifully than it did the day before. Why? Out of the sheer delight to extend greater beauty into the world. So what does that mean? Well, it means while you remain in existence, and you are in existence, and you're going to remain in existence. He says, then as long as you remain in existence, the creations of consciousness that are unlike love have created a whole lot of vibratory patterns that would just love to pull you down. When you have creations of your consciousness that's not based on love, it creates vibrations that depress you and pull you down. So there's no such thing as being depressed and experiencing love. Not only that, the discipline of the mind that is required is to recognize that while your body lasts, there can be a delight in constantly repeating the decision to teach only love. So as long as you're in the body, you can experience the delight of deciding that you're only going to demonstrate freedom. You're only going to demonstrate freedom. That's love. Love is freedom. Love is freedom. Love is freedom. So it's delightful to make the decision to teach only love, which is to demonstrate only freedom. He says, how do you do that? How do you make the decision to teach only love? He says, well, you selectively choose only the vibrational patterns to be allowed into your consciousness that reflect the truth. I'm only going to allow what reflects the truth to come out of me. I'm only going to allow what reflects the truth to come out of me. He says, if you do that, that is you making the decision to teach only love, and you will be experiencing delight as long as your body lives. So how do you experience delight as long as you're here? By choosing only to let the vibrations that reflect the truth that we're studying to be reflected in your life. Notice that everything that we're being told, we're being given instructions how to do it. Right? We already been told, if you want to be humble, realize you didn't create yourself. Discipline isn't doing everything that's hard to do that you don't really want to do. Teach only love, what does that mean? It means I'm only going to allow vibrations of freedom in my consciousness. In other words, I'm going to claim that I am free every single day, all day. Now, how do you do that, no matter what's going on in your life? You say, I allowed it into my reality. Then you're acknowledging your freedom. Then it says, what is it that reflects the truth of you? The beauty and the worthiness of who you truly are. So to reflect the truth means I'm going to only be in environments and give and receive things and hear things and communicate with people that we are what? We are reflecting the beauty and the worthiness of who we are to each other. I'm only going to reflect to you that you're valuable, 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 you're all valuable. That's a reflection of the truth that's going to raise my vibrational consciousness. I'm teaching love to you. My body will be in delight, and I won't be pulled down by a vibratory rate that's unlike love.
Yeah.
Notice they didn't say nothing about me getting a raise. Because you talk to the average person, that's not what they're going to say. Oh, what's up? What's going on, Earl? Well, right now I'm having consciousness that's unlike love, that's creating a vibratory pattern that's pulling me down. And I just need to recognize as long as my body lasts, that I'm going to have some delight if I just teach myself only love, then I'm totally free. But I'm trying to choose to have selected vibratory patterns in my life that only reflect the truth. I want to tell you that you're worthy. That's what's going on. What's happening with you, man? See, when you're having that kind of conversation with each other, you know you're getting there.
Yeah.
And when was the last time that happened when you asked somebody how they was doing? They didn't do that, did they? Okay, any questions, any comments about anything that we've been told by the way of mastery so far? Because it's great to hear your thoughts, anything that you realize when you're hearing this, as well as any clarifications about what we talked about.
Mhm.
I
I just want to say something real quick.
Right.
I appreciated this idea we've been going through. If you don't want to do it, you have the incorrect perception of it. And to me, that reminds me of this cultivating a willingness to love what is. Whether I think it's bad or not, I need to cultivate that willingness to realize I don't know if it's good or bad. Kind of reminds me of that.
Exactly. Exactly. The only reason why I'm getting upset about anything is that I think I know what my own best interest is.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm upset about anything. I've already assumed I know what's best for me, and this isn't happening.
Yeah.
But if I could go to that state that he's saying, I don't know everything. You know, I got upset because the traffic came to a stop because somebody's car failed. Well, for all I know, that pause in that few minutes because of that car kept me from being hit by a Mack truck that ran the red light two blocks up, and two blacks up too. Earl, he's two blacks up. See that black right there? He's the next black. You know, if I was the first black, I'm the next black. We're gonna have some kind of specialist around. That bright body pop. Anybody else? Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
So, in that understanding of not judging what's good or bad, or knowing that something's not good or bad, basically what he said and what you're saying. So, in that moment, like when emotion arises, that somewhere we are judging that it's good or bad.
Yeah, we don't have
So-
we don't have neutral thoughts about anything. Yeah.
So we can't, so I'm wondering about the difference between repressing that to say, oh, well, I'm not going to judge what's good or bad. Well, I don't know what's good or bad. And actually knowing that I don't know.
Well, you got to kind
I
of.
don't know.
Well, it's almost like I got to practice it before I come to the realization of it. So first, I'm going to tell myself the truth, even if I'm not practicing it yet. You know,
Right.
It really is as simple as I don't feel peace. I'm telling myself something that's not true. It's really that simple. I don't feel happy now, so I'm telling myself something that's not true. Why is that so? Then the ego goes, or the part of us that doesn't know the truth, it says, now what is that? Now let's figure that out. And it doesn't, and really the genius healing is for you to have enough spiritual awareness to say, I feel upset, I don't like the way I feel right now, so I must not be looking at this correctly. If a person could get to that point on a consistent basis when they're unhappy, that would be the genius transformation, let alone trying to figure out what it was about. How many times have you said when you were really, really angry and upset, I'm so mad I must be wrong?
No.
I bet you if you were honest, it haven't happened 10 times in your whole life. It's more like, I'm mad, I got to be right.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be upset about nothing. Now, after working with the truth so many years, I go, God, I'm upset. It must be about nothing. And that's when my mind works. The Course talks about how when you practice the truth for a certain period of time sincerely, which merely means repeating what it's saying when things come up, that your mind will start to automatically correct you. That it will actually get automatic. Just like I tell people when you take martial arts and they teach you all those different forms and stuff that you do. It's so that if you were in a fight, you would go through the moves to defend yourself without thinking about it because you train yourself to do the moves, right? That's all we're doing. We're training our minds so that we'll get to the point we'll automatically think the truth without thinking about it. We'll do the thing that's right without thinking about it. Now my mind automatically goes to, that's a call for love. I don't go, I'm mad, and let me try to see it as a call for love. That's where it started. Now it's like, it's like, what's the Spanish word for hello?
Hola.
Oh, what?
Hola.
Hola. Okay. All right. So first it would go, I want to say hello. I'm going to say hola. When I get it, I'm going to go hola.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
right.
You see what I mean? And that's what this is going to, right now we're going to, what did the chord say? What did the way of mastery say? What did it say? You see, now we're doing that. Same thing like, okay, hola means hello. And then, wow, I'm going to know hola is hello. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? So we're going to become automatic masters.
Woo-hoo.
We're going to become automatically, involuntarily kind.
Yeah.
You probably already experienced it where you were just ready to raise hell and you got there and you end up being nicer than you expected to. It's almost feeling like self-betrayal or something, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I was going to cuss you out, now I'm trying to give you a bride home. What happened? The loving part of you is stronger than the part of you that wants to raise hell and punish you. So thank you for being here tonight, especially those who want to be. Many times people come to my class, they don't want to be. They just trying to get that specialist with somebody, and they trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, and see if y'all know what we do.
Oh yeah.
That's right. It's really funny. We were studying today, and it was like one thought that came out was you never really want the form of what you're asking for. You never really want the physical thing that you're asking for, even if there's a physical person. It's what you really want is what you think is going to give you. That what you really want is what you think something is going to offer you. So if I said I want you, I really don't want you. I really want what I think you're going to offer for my enjoyment.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have every right to ask for what I think you're going to give me. But I'm making a mistake to think that I want you.
Yeah.
What? You said something? What?
What was
Smoke,
that?
I see smoke coming out of people's ears. What? What? You're supposed to want me.
That needs a graph.
No, what you always want is what you think that thing is going to give you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you think that thing is going to give you, you should ask for that.
Yeah.
And then you'll get it faster.
Is that
So what is it I think you're going to give me? Peace. Well, why don't I just ask for peace? Then I don't have to deal with you.
As opposed to a piece of you.
Just depending on what part of peace you want.
That's right.
What you think that peace gonna offer you?
That's right.
Are we being happy too soon? We're supposed to be studying to be happy. Watch it. We're jumping ahead of ourselves. Okay, let's go back to our regular look. Because if we can be happy, let's follow me on this now. This is a good one. You ready? No matter what you were a little bit upset or unhappy about in any part of your life when you came in here, anything that you told yourself needed to change in order for you to be happy. If we just laughed, that was living proof you didn't need nothing to change for you to be happy.
Yeah.
That's why people don't like to be happy for no reason at all. It blows their whole thing. See, I'm convinced that if my wife changed, then I'd be happy. But then I was happy here without my wife changing. So now I know my happiness has nothing to do with my wife and never did. So we can't just be happy in the moment because that blows all the excuses we have for not being happy. So let's stay depressed. Yes.
What you just said reminds me of something I was reading last night about Christopher Reeve when he had first gotten paralyzed, and like he was thinking, that he wanted to die, and then Robin Williams came in, and he started joking with him, and Christopher Reeves laughed. And then that's when he said, that's when I knew everything was going to be all right.
That's right. Because he knew he could be happy even if he only could move his head.
Yeah.
And the irony of that, Superman. Then he ended up really showing he was a Superman.
Yeah.
You know. Did y'all see Super Old Man on my Superman picture on Who is that? It's Super Old Man.
Super old.
I like to joke around about my age as I get older, since I don't have no choice. Yes.
A challenge to humility is when someone comes to you for advice and comes to you for help. And in your mind, you may be thinking, it's not coming from me. And you're trying to grasp these ideas and hold on to them. At the same time, it's being challenged by somebody who wants you to help solve their problem. And if it's someone that you care about, you know, it's...
If it's somebody that you care about, then you'll get to the point when you begin to become a master of feeling completely in integrity to say, I don't know. Because one of the things that happen when you're out of integrity is you try to make up an answer that you really don't know what to tell them, but you think you ought to have something to say. It's because they asked you, right? You know, a part of you feels like you should have a solution or help or some way that you could help them. And the best way you could help them, if you really don't know what to say to them, is to say, I don't know what to tell you, but I really would like to join with you on the idea of this being healed and you having peace. Because the only thing that creates a healing is joining. So just by your being willing to join with them on the idea of their peace, you've actually done the most important thing you could possibly do to help give them the interior healing that it's talking about. Yes.
Or what happens is my ego's engaged, and I think, oh, I do know all the answers because you came and asked me for them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the part of being an adult is the definition of an adult is someone who can pretend like they know what's going on when they don't. And the more successfully you can do that through your judgments, the more mature you are as an adult. Okay, so, okay, let's go further. You ready? Okay. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Now, judgment cannot reflect such light. Light is truth. Anger and hatred cannot do it. What do you mean? Well, he's saying anger and hatred can't reflect the truth and the beauty and the worthiness of who you are. Always remember that anger is three things. It's an attempt to make someone feel guilty, including yourself when you're angry at yourself. It's also someone or something is a result of something or someone not acting out your script. And it's a deep request for peace. So look at anger as a deep request for peace, and your anger will bring you peace. Then you got the best of both worlds. You mad and peace gonna come. Try it. Go and you upset me. You know what I'm saying? This is a deep request for peace. I get around you and I forget my peace. See, I'm using the anger to remind me of peace. And so I'll bring peace because what the vibration is determining what you're creating. So, fear and paranoia, fear of rejection, fear of the opinions of others, and such vibrations can never reflect the regal grandeur of your being. Therefore, understand well that humility is absolutely essential. What does that mean? Well, paradoxically, as greatness is expressed through you, as more and more greatness is coming through you, as more and more greatness is coming through you, the temptation will still be to allow your egoic energies to make a home in your mind. You have even more of a temptation for your ego to take over. Like, what does that mean? Well, it means your ego's voice will say, boy, you're really quite a master now. You got this truth stuff down pat, man. You need to give a whole weekend workshop or so. You really do deserve all this adulation. Why don't you just keep 10% of it for yourself? A master accepts the love, that means accepts the gratitude offered by those whom his or her teachings have touched, and gives it all to God. Thank you for your gratitude to me as a teacher, and I'm giving it all up to God. I'm giving it up to all. God means I'm giving it up to all that is. I received this adulation. I'm sharing it with everything. Because God is all that is. That's a term you can use for God. All that is. So, then it says that recognizing, why would you give it up? Because you recognize that of yourself, you couldn't have done any of this. What does that mean? Well, actually, I'm teaching something that I didn't know nothing about. So this really didn't come from me. That's why I can be humble in a sense. You know what I mean? At another level, it did, but at this level, it didn't. I'm sharing with you something that was given to me. So how could I sit up here and act like I'm the one who's the source of it? So when you acknowledge me, I appreciate that, because I had to be willing to be the channel, but I know I'm just a conduit for something greater than what I would have thought of. You don't really want to know what's going on in my mind. So I learned too to be tempted. I learned to be tempted. I learned to be tempted. What does that mean? Well, when those would come to me who were sick, found healing in my presence, it was tempting to want to say, yeah, look at what I've done. I've really earned this. I spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. I've been to India and Tibet. I've been to England. I've studied with all the masters of Egypt. You know, like there was a period between 12 and like 30 or something like that where Jesus kind of disappeared and they didn't really know where he was. But he was at Cervantes. Go Jesus! Go Jesus! Giving fish to everybody in the club. I've studied with all the masters of Egypt. Yes, I really deserve to be seen as a healer and teacher. I've been to India about 3 or 4 times. And so I learned through humility to remember that simplicity, that of myself, what I can do nothing. I cultivated within myself the art of being what? A student of love. So if somebody's going to enter a relationship with you, or somebody's going to enter a relationship with me, I try to make them aware I'm a love student. I'm not a love master. I'm learning how to love. Now, since you know that, take responsibility for going out with me. I'm learning how to love. I don't know how to let full unconditional love come through me yet. That means I'm going to break some of the rules that you are making for your enjoyment of me. The things that I'm supposed to do so that you will enjoy me, I'm not going to do them all the time. Can you handle that? I'm going to sometimes act in ways you don't expect. And I'm not going to follow your rules all the time. Even if I want to, I won't. How do you make a cricket sound? It's some ahead of time here, boy. It was dead. Y'all hear how silent it was in here? It was like a monastery, wasn't it? Do you really and truly expect anyone to always do whatever they're gonna say they're gonna do all the time? I mean, y'all really do. Y'all really actually in your mind actually think somebody's gonna do that. Isn't it? We're taught to believe that, right? Is there anything in your experience that's bared that out? No. Have you ever been with anyone over any period of time that always acted the way you wanted them to and the way you expected them to?
No.
who is the person that you're looking for that's going to do it? It's like something like if you do the wrong thing enough times, you think it will work. Right. It's like, oh, I just haven't picked the right person. I have picked the wrong person so many times, the right person is going to show up. That's the kind of logic we use. So you have to pick the wrong person 342 times. And then at that point, the right one shows up.
Like a slot machine.
Yeah. That's right. Some women are looked at like they're slot machines. Okay. It's all about the slot.
Oh, okay.
That's about the payoff.
All about the handle.
It's all
See,
about the
spiritual students who think you're supposed to be serious every second hate my classes. It's just they don't never come back. Those serious students with the bricks in their butt, they know. But you move faster, move faster. You're missing the point. It's not about speed, it's about hearing. And it's easy to take medicine with joy. You know what I'm saying? This is the ultimate castor oil. We take it. You know what I mean? So I cultivated within myself the art of always being what? A student of love and not the professor of love. Who is a professor of love? If you notice, if you're reading with me, the commas always let you know that the next part of the sentence is going to explain what the part right before it said. And that's how you read these kind of books. You go, what? I cultivated within myself the art of always being a student of love. What does that mean, cultivating within yourself to be a student of love? It means not seeing yourself as the professor of love. What does it mean to not see yourself as the professor of love? Well, that's someone who thinks he's done just because he has a lot of letters after his name. It's always interesting to me when people introduce themselves and then say their college degree at the end of the name. That just blows my mind. What's your name? I'm John Fisher, PhD. Pile high and deep. PhD. It means I've mastered the meaning list completely. If you got a PhD, you're not laughing. Bet you're not laughing. Boy, you know how hard I worked on the dissertation? You better not be making fun of that. Okay. So as you progress, right? That means what? Y'all watch this. As you allow more of the abundance of God's love to flow through you. So what is progress? Allowing more of the abundance of God's love to flow through you. What happens when you do that? You begin to stand up out of the crowd. What happens when you start to stand up out of the crowd? You begin to attract those who want the light. Yeah. See, more and more in my life, and I know it's happening probably in some of yours, I'm attracted more and more people who want the truth, who want love, who want peace. And so those people and me, we can always work it out. I don't care what comes up, we can work it out because we both want the same thing. We both want peace. We don't want to be angry at each other. We don't want to be separate from each other. Why? Because I'm standing out in the crowd. Why? Because I'm allowing more love to come through me. Why? Because I'm being humble enough to know that I am not the source, I am the channel. Right? Then it goes on to say, as that occurs, as what occurs? As you begin to attract the people who want the light, you must practice what? Discipline and vigilance. How do you practice discipline and vigilance? By remembering humility. How? Always. Until you're remembering it with every breath. So I'm going to keep practicing this until I remember it with every breath. Every breath I take is going to be a reminder of the truth. Every breath I take is going to be a reminder of the truth. See, your heart is no longer beating in fear. It's no longer pounding in fear. Your heart is no longer pounding in fear. It's beating in hope. So you just need to say your heart, with every beat of your heart, you are attracting and establishing more hope to experience the love that you are. Every breath you take. I'm breathing you in right now.
Okay.
Let's breathe each other in and out.
Yeah.
Your capacity to receive is in direct proportion to your ability to breathe in. So if you breathe like this,
Whoops.
don't take them to a party. You want somebody to go, I'm gonna take you to a party. Because they know how to receive life.
Yeah.
They know how to take it in and let it out. Like I said, the masculine is in and out. The feminine is open and closed. Let's have a cricket moment. I love it when whatever this is comes through because most of the time I'm depressed. Y'all see me at home. Y'all think I really like this all the time? Why do you think I'm teaching it? You really think if I was an enlightened being, I'd just be sitting here? I'd be in hedonism too in Jamaica. Bali. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. That's right. Be working through all my guilt. Let me see if I can do this now and feel okay about it. So go ahead and get all those letters behind your name. I'm Earl Purdy, ACIM. As you progress, now check this out. You ready for the next part?
All right.
Okay. Why, if you're living in this world and feel that no one looks up to you, no one takes you as an authority, there's only one reason why nobody's looking up to you.
Oh.
It's because you have resisted the truth in your own being.
Oh.
What does that mean? It means that through your own denial, you have pushed God's light away out of fear, your deep-seated fear that you might appear to be different than everyone else.
Oh.
So an authority is a person that is not afraid to be their own unique, authentic selves. A person who has no energy of an authority is a person who's afraid to stand out and be different from how everybody else is being. Got the difference? Okay? So the world would teach you, be a doormat so that you can fit in and don't ruffle nobody's feathers. But as you become empowered, I don't know how to break this to you, one way you will know that you're becoming empowered is that some people will not like you. I'm powerful! God, I'm more powerful than you too! I mean, just a lot of people don't like y'all. So that means you're powerful. You come in and people go, I don't like you. You're powerful. Be proud.
Yeah.
Isn't that another way to look at it?
Yeah.
You know why people don't like you? Because you start to be yourself and you're not trying to please anybody and you're being authentic. There are people that don't like me because I'll just be me and not the way they think I ought to be as a teacher. So they walk in the wrong room and immediately judge. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The more you are you, the more you're going to have some people that won't be able to stand you. To just, accept it. There are going to be people who absolutely are wanting to be with, like you said earlier, they're going to see the light, they're going to want the light, they're going to want to connect with you, and they're going to far outnumber the people who don't like you. You know why? Because the people who don't like you won't come around you most of the time, and the people who like you will. So it's really a good deal. Don't you think that's a pretty good deal?
It's a good deal.
I used to be so crazy, I called them up and tried to get them to come back.
Oh my God.
Have you ever done that?
Hell yeah.
Just a little while. Let's raise out here. Who in here has ever wanted somebody that didn't want them and they tried to get next to them and they didn't really want to get next to them? Anybody? Okay, so we all are just alike. So we can be gentle with each other. We do the same thing, you know. As a matter of fact, the prerequisite for me wanting them was they didn't want me. You know, you had to not want me for me to want you.
Yeah.
If you wanted me, I was wondering what was wrong with you. It's like, you know, refusing to be a member of a club that would have you as a member. Like, I don't want to be they would have me. I don't want to join that club. That's some low standards. Why they let me in? People do that. If they have low self-esteem and you want them, they think something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
They really do. They really do. They go, what you want me? Something wrong with you. That was an enlightened laugh. I like that. So, as you become empowered, what do we say? Some people will not like you. Some people will not like you. Some people will not like you. You know why? Because you're going to push their buttons just by walking into the room. They just saw you and they didn't like you. Haven't you done it? This happened with you, haven't you? Haven't you just seen somebody walk in the door and you go, I don't like them. I don't even know why. I just don't like them. Right? He says, because when you're in the dark, you abhor the light. And so it's that simple. A person that's in fear and terror absolutely is frightened of and don't like people who are happy and loving. It irritates them. They don't want to be around nobody that's real happy when they're depressed. So, before I go any further, any questions or comments about what we've covered so far? We always give you a chance to share. Yes?
I have to admit I have a little bit of trouble grasping this notion of humility. Because
why is that, brother?
It either relates so much to God or Source, but to other human beings in our relationship with them. And I see it as not exercising judgment, using every conceivable criterion to try and figure out some relativity between myself and somebody else, which chances are good I'm going to be greater and they're going to be lesser. Someone who is humble doesn't even accept the notion of relativity between one human and another. In other words, we're alike.
Yeah.
We're the same. But if you really think about it, in our everyday lives, it's all about relativity. Somebody else is lesser because of some criteria.
That's the whole root of specialness.
Yeah.
That's the whole root. Specialness is based on inferiority and superiority. What makes me special in a relationship with you is that you treat me differently than you do everybody else. You give me more. You see me as more valuable. Like I've said in the past, sometimes people have accused me of not being sincere in my declarations of love because they say I say that to everybody. And I say, well, that's why you can believe me. What's not true is what you don't say to everybody. So when someone says, I love you and nobody else, then I know that I could lose that love and it could be temporary. Because by definition it's not real. Because it doesn't include anyone else. You'll get to that point and you're aware. Does that mean that you don't appreciate that? No, it doesn't mean that you don't appreciate that, but you know it's fragile. you know it could end. Why? Because it is not inclusive, it is exclusive. Which means it's based on more or less. It's based on me getting more than anyone else. But remember, you only want me for what you think I can give you. What did you want me to give you? Specialness above anyone else in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So the minute I say, I love all of you, the part of you that wants to have more than anyone else feels threatened. And that's the way that's why people have so much fear in love. Woo! But let's say everybody in this room loved me and you decided not to. I can handle that. But if you were the only one in the room that loved me and no one else did, then the loss of you would be devastating. So therefore I have to imprison you to make sure you give me the love that no one else gets but me. And if you know a lot of people love me, and including you, you stay on your toes because you know I could be loved without you. Oh, he stopped loving me. I sure do miss it. Because I got 35 other people loving me. Oh, I'm torn up. Why? Because, what's his name? Because the present love is filling me up. So how could I miss him? There's no emptiness in me. So I could wish him well and go, wow, you know what? We had a cool time together. For whatever reason, he decided to do something different and experience love in another way. That's wonderful. I wish him all the happiness in that, because my cup is overflowing. I'm all right with that. But if you're the only one, I'm behind the bushes, across the street from your house, seeing who you taking inside. Have you ever drove by an ex's house? Come on, tell the truth. You have. You know you've done it. You know, I did it when I was supposed to head to class. I was in front of the house. I don't know how that happened. Okay. It's painful, isn't it? When that specialness ends, that can be the most painful feeling in the world. When someone replaces you with someone else, which lets you know right then it never was about you. It was about what they wanted. That's all the truth is trying to tell us. Stop fooling yourself, because when you fool yourself is when you hurt yourself. Then all your pain comes from fooling yourself. That's where all pain comes from, it says. Deceiving yourself. So I'm trying not to deceive myself, even if my old programming gets affronted sometimes. Because there is a part of me that wants you to love me more than anybody. That wants you to see me as the most special teacher of the course you ever saw in your whole life. It is. It is. And how can I tell when a part of me is in charge? I'll be concerned about how you react to what I'm saying and how I teach. So when you no longer are afraid of someone's reaction to what you say, when you be in yourself, you can safely assume that now you are loving yourself. Because you'll want to present yourself as authentically as you can, so that you can weed out the people who don't love you. Right. The problem with that is that at first you're afraid everybody's going to leave you. And that's why everybody be scared, because they know they got all that phony love. So if they go for the real deal, 99% of their relationships will be gone. Because you already know what the person can take if you're special to them. If it's a friendship, even if it's a friend, you kind of know what they can handle and what they can't handle, and you try to stay within the boundaries of what they can handle. Even if it means not being yourself. But when you get to that point that you're a master, you just want to be surrounded by those who reflect what? Your worthiness to you. And to do that, you have to go through that little scary in-between period where it looks like nobody's hardly there. So those of you who've been feeling alone for a while, you just in the transition. Spirit is trying to make your transition easy, but not having nobody around that's going to give you a hard time while you're doing it. There's nobody to be upset with you while you're going through your transition, which is going to create lots of moods, and you not always knowing what you want to do or how you want to do it. And so if you with somebody, you'd be driving them crazy. So you should be glad that you are alone when you're transitioning, even though you're not really alone, because Spirit is always with you. So right now, what you call loneliness is transitioning. So if you want to slow the whole process down, you're insisting on wanting to have somebody with you, so they can go, "What's wrong with you?" So you could just be going through your change without anybody saying that to you.
Yeah.
Right? But no, you gotta have somebody. Okay. Anybody else? I always say question periods and y'all share and I end up talking. What's wrong with that?
What's up with that?
What's up with that? Okay, it's discussion time. Okay, well I'm going to discuss with myself.
You're so good at it.
I'm not good. I love talking to myself. I talk to myself. How many of y'all like to talk to yourself? When you tell the truth when nobody's around, you're having a conversation. I was so glad when they had those little, what's those things you put in the phone? I mean, you know, Laura, because you have one all the time. Bluetooth, that's your nickname. Okay, so now you can be talking to yourself and people think you're talking on the phone. So now you don't look as crazy as they did when I was 20 years old. Because I was talking like it was a Bluetooth and they weren't even invented. Now you can just have nobody on the phone and you can be talking. Just give it a try. Nobody even look at it. They don't even think about it now. Right? Yes, my brother.
So, what is going on, or what is the situation when, like, you have a whole lot of love around you, that you're focused on one person, and so you're not even paying attention to the other love?
So in other words, you're being a normal person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we just got to talking about. We want more. Specialness is me wanting more love than any of you get. Because I think something's missing in me. And I need your attention to convince me that I'm really significant and important. And that can only happen by us having things that we only exclusively do with each other and no one else. Or else how would I really be special? You know, you only go to see movies with me, Chris, because I'm your special friend. So you better not go to the movie with nobody else. You see what I'm saying? Because that makes me feel unique. But if I felt whole, I would not only go to the movie with you, I'd say, who can we invite to go with us? Because I want more love in the sense of more connection. So when you're really getting it, you're okay when you're alone and you're okay when you're with people. I have no problem being by myself. And I love being with people. But if I had to be with people, then I have an issue, right? And if I can't be alone, I got an issue. If I have to be with people all the time, I got an issue. If I can't be alone, I have an issue. I should be just as happy if nobody asked me out on a Saturday night as if someone asked me out on a Saturday night. Okay? So, let's go a little bit further. We're almost at the end of the class.
Oh no.
No. I heard people do a sigh of relief. Everybody went, God, thank God. I felt really special. Y'all make me feel so special. Y'all do. For the light of God can only shine through you to the degree you're willing to take responsibility for the light of God shining through you. What does that involve? See, I always ask the question, well, what does that involve, letting the light of God flow through me? He said it involves giving the fruits of it back to the source. How do I give the fruits back to the source? Well, I stop claiming that it came from me, my ego.
Okay.
When you claim nothing for yourself, which my ego doesn't want to hear, all things can flow through you. See, I'm not telling God what to do and what not to do. I'm not setting conditions anymore on what God can do for me. So therefore, all things can flow through me because I'm not claiming anything for myself anymore. In other words, I'm no longer, as much as possible, trying to make up what I think will make me happy.
Yeah.
And the more I do that, the more I'm happy. Because things come to me that I never would have considered in ways I would have never thought of. It's because when you make up your mind the way something is supposed to come to you, you immediately cut off anything that's coming to you any other way.
Yeah.
The love wants to come from over here, but I decide it's going to come from over here. So the love is trying to get to me, but I never see it. You see what I'm saying? Because I decided it was over here. But what if I said it was everywhere? Then no matter what direction I turned in, I'd have it. There's somebody on their knees praying for somebody just like you right now. Do you know that? There's somebody in this world right now that see you as a step up. Compared to who they've had, you are like the most evolved being that they could ever have. So they're asking for you right now. Give me a black man with some love handles. Don't know nothing. Won't you? I'm telling you, somebody wants somebody. They want somebody to look like you, have the same shape as you, the same attitude as you, everything about you, just the way it is right now.
What if you don't want them?
If you don't want them, then by all means, don't give yourself to them. It sounds like that just happened to you. Remember, your divine person will want you the way you are. They won't ask you to change for them to love you, even though you will be evolving together. They'll be glad you're the way you are. I was at a birthday party the other night, and one of the biggest conversations about that so many people said that they loved about this person was how they belched. That was the most amazing thing I've ever heard. At least 10 or 15 people. There was a whole big conversation about this is the most incredible belching. In a way that she can just belch without caring about how anybody thinks about it. No matter where she is, she just belches. I loved it. It was wonderful. So that just goes to show you, you could be yourself, and it's somebody that will love you just that way. And I was living there, I was seeing it. And I thought that was awesome. That was awesome. So however you are, there's someone for you. And you would want them too.
Okay, thank you.
I thought that was it. I felt you over there. Oh no, not another one. Oh, just so many of them on me, and I don't want them. I don't want them. Oh my God. You're so humble. Get away, get away. So, let's stop here. Let's give it up to ourselves. All right, give it out ourselves here because I want to kind of do a quick recap of what we covered before we get out and do it. So let's do the love offering, the financial expression of appreciation, which is really cool. Thank you for sharing with me with my full-time teaching ministry, y'all. Thank you for seeing value in what I do. Also, online, if you'd like to also make a financial expression of appreciation, you can go to my website, earlpurdy.com. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one healing session, correction session, another way of looking at it session, letting God come through session called a clarity session, you can go to my website and it explains it. And if you're open to astrology and numerology being used also, but not the way you think, then that's available also, because everything I do is done from the perspective of you create your reality. And we're going to do the Course in Miracles at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And that's going to be good. We've been having some good times. Do y'all like the Way of Mastery? Y'all think it's a cool tool? Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Would anybody care to share one thing they'd like to remember from what we said today before I get into a quick recap? Like one idea you would like to walk out of the room with that you'd like to keep uppermost in your mind.
Discipline is not doing something you don't like.
Discipline is not doing something you don't like.
I don't have to know everything to get where I want to go.
I don't have to know everything to get where I want. That's a good one there. I don't have to know everything to get where I want to go.
Be glad when I'm alone, that I'm alone when I'm transitioning.
Be glad when you are alone, that you are, now you're never alone from a spiritual level, but you may be physically alone so that you can do it in a peaceful way. Because I don't know about you, when I'm in transition, it's hard for me to promise people what I'm going to do and how I'm going to act, because I'm in the process of discovering myself anew. So to be with someone who's trying to hold me to something I used to be would be a challenge. Yeah. So you should be around people who are encouraging your change. And if anything, they're saying, I want to be a safe shelter for you to change in. Yeah, in other words, I want to be your dressing room from God.
The more people who don't like me, the better.
The more people who don't like you, the better. That's one of the most positive statements I've ever heard in my life. Nobody likes me. Good. I'm powerful. Thank you.
I want to look at anger as a deep request for peace.
Yes, my anger is a deep, and the deeper the anger, the deeper the request.
Wow.
Yeah. Based on that alone, we're praying all the time.
I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah. Anyone else?
If people aren't seeing me as an authority, it's because I'm not letting God's light shine through.
That's right. That's right. Because they'll want to come, they'll be attracted to you like a moth to a flame. If you're really radiating who you are and you're totally, and a person with charisma is just the person being themselves. That's all charisma is. I'm just showing up as who I am. And you attract people every time.
Isn't it possible that they see the light and the truth in you and then they shut down, they go the other way because of the darkness in them?
That's right. That's right. Because they can't take it. They can't take the light yet. It's almost like if you've been in a cave and you go out into the sunlight and you go, oh, it takes you a minute to adjust your eyes to the light. It's actually painful. That's the way you are to people who are negative and depressed all the time. You're literally like, you know, I'm always, in a sense, way toned down from what I could express myself to be here. Believe me, I'm very conservative, really, because it doesn't make sense to be here, or you know what I'm saying. It's like you got to be somewhere in the range of each other to be not frightening. So. And I obviously still want you around me no matter what. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I'm conscious of your reactions to me. And I'm learning how to be less and less affected by that so you can experience more and more of an authentic me. And that's what I want you to do. I want to see who you are, not your representative. It's the representatives that sit in the chairs in classes. It's your representative. Well, Earl, he said it too. So. And Earl, I don't know if I believe what he just said. He's trying to act too loving. I think you need to watch out for him. You know, your representatives are listening to me and then giving you the message. Anybody else have a thought of anything that they heard tonight that they want to remember? So what's true humility?
Not knowing anything.
and not knowing anything and recognizing that you cannot save yourself, you can never understand everything at this level, but you don't have to in order to reap the benefits of it. Because you're loved more than you love yourself. And how you feel about yourself has nothing to do with how your Creator feels about you. So therefore, you can still receive loving, beautiful blessings regardless of how you feel about yourself.
Thank you, thank you.
But just be aware that when it starts to show up, you might be tempted to feel guilty and unworthy because you learned a system that's not true, which teaches you that you can only have what you paid for or what you earned. So on the way of mastery, you have to let go of the concept of paying and earning and open up to the idea of gifting. That you could simply be given what you need. No. Know what an on the toilet statement, right? Toilet truth. That's what I'm gonna call my book, Toilet Truth. And I can't wait to do the, the video. I do my whole video in the restroom. That'd be the first one on YouTube of its type, wouldn't it? Especially if all y'all was in there with me. Well, we just have a whole room full of toys. What could be more innocent than that?
That's right.
And just imagine the kind of people who will be attracted to it.
That's right.
But Zen won't want it. Zen said, no, I don't want you, though. I don't. No, you want me, but I don't want you.